Do you recognize this?
Edvina, the racing chef.
This is actually the racing suit that Tom crashed in, and I feel very humble and honored to wear this incredible piece, and actually look really good.
And I don't recall this being on it though, but it's been jazzed up a little bit.
I decorated because this is my logo, so I decided to, add a little endorsement here. And this is the crazy looking helmet, and yeah, that's like bigger than my head and yours. But it's really cool looking thing. We'll talk about it in a few, but before we continue, I want you guys to check out that crash. Watch it again right now on the screen, and that is something super, super crazy. And we'll talk about his survival.
Running second at Kentucky on August of 2003, goes up and slams the wall almost head-on. 14 surgeries, fractures involving his spine, hand, knees, and both legs, ankles, and feet on this almost head-on impact at 180 miles per hour into the wall. Tom Wood back at the racetrack, and he is down where Cameron Steele is standing nearby.
Well, Tom Wood right now getting his helmet on, getting set to get in the car, and he went into the wall with calculated 133 G-force. I mean,
so this is the crash, and can you believe, looking at Tom, that he actually been through something so devastating, breaking 143 bones and being in recovery for 14 months, which seems actually not so long for so many bones. How many bones do we actually have? I don't even know.
Oh, you've got over 200. I actually had like over 140 fractures. A little different, not necessarily all bones, but I think you've got a couple hundred bones in your body.
Well, I had one little fracture. I was dying for like a few months.
So you can take like one bone, and I broke it, like, my ankle, my right foot, I had over 25 fractures just in the foot. So that was the kind of, became a I think they called it polytrauma. It's just like a bag of bones, right? I mean.
Bag of bones.
That was pretty much it.
This is incredible. Did you feel, when this was happening, did you actually already know that it's happened in the crash, or you realized it after?
I didn't have a clue to start with, because I was more worried about trying to breathe, because I couldn't breathe. I had broken my back and my lungs had collapsed. So that was quite difficult. And then after they got me breathing, which was probably a few minutes later, when I took my glove off, the first thing I noticed was a severe fracture in my left hand. And then all of a sudden I was focused on that, although all the major damage was down in my legs, but I could see my hand, so all of a sudden my hand hurt because I could see it.
Yeah, this is the first pain you felt, but I'm sure the pain just started from there, and I could not even imagine how much pain you've been through and what it felt like, the recovery.
Well, actually it was, oddly enough, and there was a trauma surgeon on the rescue team. His name's Dr. Kevin Scheid, and he was actually at the car. He was one of the rescue team that took me out, and they took me back to the infield hospital to get me stabilized, and I ended up having a major displacement in my leg at the time, because it was, not everything was inside where it was supposed to be. And he told me to be, just to hang on, because this was going to hurt. They were going to have to put this all back together before put me in the life flight. And I was very set to have this terrible pain, and because of the hormones and the adrenaline and everything that was running through my body, he actually put it back in, and I didn't really feel it that much, to be honest with you. I mean, if you saw what he did.
Yeah, I cannot even imagine. I'm sure those doctors are such well trained and some magic workers, right? Because something like that is just not something regular to do.
No, they're not really concerned how much it hurts you at the time, because they're more concerned about getting you put back together. And
they want that Lego to put back together.
Well, we got to get moving here, so they can't give you any painkiller. When that's going on, you've got nothing, because they need to evaluate you when you get back. The funny part about that whole thing, though, was there was a nurse that was standing next to the bed, and my one hand was broken. I had one one limb that wasn't fractured in the whole thing. And I was so mentally prepared for the pain coming from the my leg being put back together that I just clenched up. And when he was done, she said to me, Dr. Scheid said, okay, you can relax now. It's put back in. And she said, you can let go of my ass now.
I'm sure she felt good.
Well, no, because I was just hanging on for dear life. I just grabbed whatever I could.
You had no idea what
I didn't know what I was grabbing.
Doing. Oh my God, this is insanely funny. And what was, before we continue, I just want to show you this crazy helmet. I want to let it go because all these pieces here make particular sense, right? So we have this.
That's for your communication.
But this part, which is very interesting, it's actually for breathing.
No, that's an airbag.
That's the airbag.
Yeah.
Part,
So there's a bag in the top of the helmet. So when they ended up. Once they stabilize you, they get your neck situated and everything. So they don't have to move your head around. They just take and they put an air cartridge into that and they can blow the helmet right off the top of your head. So it just will come straight up without.
Oh, this is a genius idea because it's very important how they handle you at the moment, because if they move you a little more or less, you could get even more damaged. Yeah. So those helmets are made purposely well, and this is insane. I'm going to put it down for a second here. And so how was that recovery for you for 14 months? What were you thinking?
Well, actually, from the time I got hurt, I didn't realize how bad it was to begin with. I'll be honest with you, because when they took me to the trauma unit in Kentucky, the first place they took me into was Lexington, and they just took me in there and they're going, they stabilized me. We likely can't repair you here. So then in the morning they got me a life flight back up to Indianapolis where all the expertise is. And at that point I didn't really know how bad things were, but then when they started wheeling me out, I could see all these things sticking, these fixation devices sticking out of my leg.
Do you have a lot of metal in your body right now?
I still have a fair bit, but they removed quite a bit. They probably took out, I don't know, I think 6 or 7 plates and probably 50 screws or something like that. I probably still have that much left.
Right, and the crazy thing that actually Tom went back to racing. How crazy are you? Why?
Well, that was part of my recovery. I had a physical therapist who is probably one of the best people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, this is a very important part. I could tell you that too from my little break, but physical therapy is important.
Terry Kane was, he was an amazing person. He didn't just work on your body, he worked on your mind. And one thing I noticed, he would give you a win every day. Didn't matter what it was in your head, because he just mentally knew that you're laying in a bed like that, and he would tell you, oh, you're getting a little more range of motion, and it's so slow. So I was physically in a hospital bed. Actually, we set a hospital room up in my home after I got out of the regular hospital. And he would come every day, and we'd work on it 3 hours every day. And the goal was, this happened on August 16th, and my goal was to pass the Indy car physical in January, which was a little out there, but that was more upper body, and we managed to I did actually pass it. And then I was, the team I drove for was Sam Schmidt Motorsports, and Sam got me back in I got back in a car in about 270 days, where we went right back to the same track and I ran there.
That is absolutely fascinating. Actually, Sam Schmidt is your great friend and mentor, I would say. And when he visited you at the hospital, I remember Sam was here at my kitchen, at my house, and we were talking about it. He is such an inspiring human being. He is quadriplegic because he also was a race car driver, and he completely paralyzed. And what did he say? Yeah,
well, Sam is he's the most inspirational person you'll ever meet in your life. actually, he was part of the team that decided where I was going after we got to Lexington, because he just assessed
curated this whole thing.
Yeah, he assessed it, and he's going like, he got together with the IndyCar racing series. They have a medical staff that works for them. So they had the discussion, and they said the best place to go is there. So when I got back to Indianapolis, by that time, a lot of this adrenaline and hormone thing and everything had worn off. And they did have painkiller in me, but I'd just been through, I don't know, about 10 hours of surgery that night. And they took me from the life flight into a hospital room, and I was scheduled to go into a surgery right away, about an hour after I got there. And Sam was in the room. And I was kind of shocked to see him there, but he said, "How are you feeling, bud?" And I said, "I have never had anything that hurt like this in my life." And he said, "You want to trade places?" And I never complained again after that.
And I could vouch for that. I've never seen anyone so positive, so happy, with the biggest smile on his face. Every time I meet Tom, he never complained. And even if we talk about this situation, he talks about it like, it was, but it's nothing to be proud of, which you should be. And something that he went through and survived, and the mental part of it. That's what made you come through and be where you are right now. And Tom is in a great shape. Look at him. He is very athletic. I see him all the time at the gym. He just never gives up. And I just admire this. Thank you so much for actually inspiring people, and so that they could see everything is possible.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was really interesting, because when I got back to Canada after all of this is where I was living at the time, and after all of this surgery and everything I had in Indianapolis, and I had to go to a doctor there just to do a check on me. And when I got in there, he looked at my right leg and he said, "I don't know why they didn't just cut that off, because we would have." And my physical therapist, which was Terry Kane, was with me, and he kind of went through and explained the plan. And literally 7 months later, I went back to that same doctor, and I was, because of Terry's, his tremendous work with me. The doctor said to me, and he had all these medical students in, and he said, "Can you stand on your toes?" And I did. And
wow.
Because, this is only 7 months later. And he said to me, "Those doctors are so unbelievable." He said, "That's the closest thing I've seen to a miracle in my life." And this guy was an orthopedic surgeon that was really well known in Canada. But he was the same guy that said I would have cut the leg off.
Yeah, you see, you have to try to take that for yourself, to make that decision for you. Not always someone would push you and to cut your limbs, instead of trying to save. It's just, you're fortunate you had that incredible doctor, of course, but at the same time, we have to think for ourselves too. And Tom is from Canada, Alberta, and this is, I think, where it comes from, your French influence, the dish that we are cooking today. And
I don't have any French influence, wrong side of the country, but
right.
Close enough.
Close enough, but it's already there. It's already in the same country.
Absolutely.
Right? So you do
Absolutely.
speak some French.
Un peu.
Oh yes. So, and why did you choose this dish?
This is, when I grew up in Canada, we would have beef all the time. Alberta is beef, oil,
country.
real estate. That's about it. And originally it was. And you likely had some form of beef 4 or 5 days a week. And I loved it. And when I came down to the States, then I got more into fish and things like that. And really, the French have just kind of made it a little fancier with the steak frites.
With the steak frites and the Béarnaise sauce. So I'm gonna start on our fries first, and I could put them in the oven, and we'll do the sauce while we are continuing to talk about everything else here. Since I'll be cooking everything, you'll just, you just hang out with me.
Well, if I was cooking, it's a good thing you have the fire suit on. So.
Yeah, actually, those things are protective, okay? But by the way, I have one more suit here that is also actually looks really good on me too. And I was like, why is this yellow, Tom? And
There was a bit of a fire with that suit, so.
So yeah, the color is like pearly white, but this is how well those suits are made to protect you. And of course, part of your survival is all the equipment that you had on, including the helmet, and there are rips, there is fire safety on this. But yeah, this is another memorabilia here. This is so cool. I actually really love this too. They feel comfortable as well. I have the fries here that I already cut. Just you know how to do that, guys. I don't have to explain. Oh wait a second. Forgot one more step. We're gonna put some seasoning, salt, paprika, and avocado oil. I like avocado oil for this because I just want it to be healthier and just for like it roasts very well. Some salt, and we're gonna toss it together and throw in the oven for 20 minutes or so, and then continue with the rest of the stuff. So that's it. And I like lining with this bacon sheet to make sure, nothing burns, but it's still gonna be really crispy and nice. Let me mix it a little bit with my hands. So, Tom, but that was not your last crush. You had another crush. You went back to race.
I did. Yeah, I did it for 4 more years after that.
4 more years.
And I ended my career with the first crash, besides breaking my legs and everything, I had a very severe back fracture, which was called a compression fracture of my T12. And I never realized how bad it was until literally about 5 years later, because they never really told me that it was that bad of a fracture.
Why 5 years later? What?
Well, actually, I had broke my back. So I broke my back.
Breaking back sounds
it doesn't
really
sound good.
Scary.
I broke my back a second time in 2007, which pretty much ended my career. I decided that was it. That was not as bad of a fracture. It was the first one was burst. I'm sorry. The second one was compression, which means it goes down. So that's not nearly as it's not nearly as dangerous. They're more stable, and usually you don't get paralyzed by those. But when I was at Indianapolis, and the Formula One was there, and at the time Michael Schumacher's brother had broken his back, Rolf Schumacher, and my back doctor, Dr. Trammell, who's world renowned for fixing broken backs, he explained to me that Schumacher's back wasn't broken that badly, but they kind of made a big thing out of it when he went back to Europe.
But wasn't he like paralyzed for?
No, this was his brother.
His brother.
Yeah, that was Michael Schumacher. But Rolf was a McLaren driver. But anyway, long story short, he said to me, without disclosing any of the information about Schumacher's, he said, "I'll show you a really severe fracture." So he showed me this one on his screen. And he said, you can see how the vertebrae is collapsed in, and it's touching you can see where it's touching the spinal cord, etc. And he was explaining it all to me. And I said, wow. He said, now that is a back fracture. And he said, whose was that? And he said, that was yours. And I had no clue. Like, I really didn't.
You were impressed how bad it was, but it was yours.
Yeah, but then I found out it was mine. So
this is insane. This is, I really can't wrap my head around this, because knowing you, seeing how you're thriving, is just so. It's like almost you're not talking about yourself. It's fascinating, and I love your mindset. How you always, you made yourself to come out of it and just stay focused on many other things, and you are also working in the oil industry, right? That you created this extreme mining technology, so that you are behind the tech part of it, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it, because it's so interesting, and it's also, how did you come to that after being a race car driver? I mean, it makes a little sense, cars, oil, all that, but I need to know a little more than that. Well,
actually, growing up in Alberta, my life around there was, like I said, it was the oil business.
Meat.
Oil, meat, cattle. And I when I was younger, to make money, to go to university and so on, I worked on drilling rigs, which was quite an adventure, because they were a little more dangerous
than now.
Yeah, they were a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, because of the tech part that you created. Is it the
yeah,
reason
so on one of the companies that I did, so while I was racing, I got involved into the coil tubing business. And it was a new way of drilling for oil and gas. And we started that company with the intention of displacing all the old technology that was in the same depth category. And within about 5 years, we just totally dominated it. So as I moved forward, we developed another technology that worked on all these oil shale plays, which was on the oil and gas side again. And it dominated that area. So then we moved into, that got bought by one of the largest oil field service companies, the largest oil field service company in the world. And we decided to take that technology into the mining space. So we're doing that right now. And it's arbitrage. We've just taken something that, because the mining business is very archaic, the way they drill for the minerals. And we're going to take this same technology and apply it to that.
Oh, this is very interesting. And was your education connected to any of this? You said you went to university.
I was an economist.
Economist, well, that,
graduate.
you know,
yeah, but
financial education is always good.
Yeah,
and
but I think the part that I really learned working on the drilling rigs is where I learned all about this stuff. That's where I got all my background from, was because I saw how dangerous it was and how inefficient it was. So when I actually saw this technology to begin with, and then we moved it from another business into our business.
Did your race car driving career prepare you in any way for your entrepreneurship in business?
Oh, actually, a lot of it does, because there's so much technology that is developed in racing, and if you just look at the way they maintain the cars, the way they communicate, all these things are kind of linked together at some point, and it's all about being efficient, being fast, being at the front. And if you want to be competitive, you have to keep moving forward. If you're standing still, you're going to get passed. That's what's going to happen. So yeah, I think it's all linked together at some point in your life.
I think it's such an fascinating way of your life folded for you, that taking those two and combining together and being where you are right now. And were you did you start racing when you were a kid? Like, how did you get
actually,
into
I started ski racing. That's where I started.
Racing.
Yeah, I skied in Canada.
Well, Canada is cold.
Yeah, well, that's
it's
where
a ski country.
Yeah, it was great, because when I was younger, I got to ski all over the world. I skied in Europe. I skied through the United States and Canada. And we got to go to a lot of really interesting places when I was younger. And when you get into racing, it's fundamentally the same whatever you do. It's entry, apex, exit, and it's all about lines, and you go from cars to motorcycles to ski racing. The principles are the same. It's just your commitment's a little different in each one of them.
But is it about speed or competition for you?
I think it was both. The speed is somewhat addictive. It really is. It's
that adrenaline that you feel.
Yeah, it is.
It's something that is irreplaceable, I bet, because...
Well, 220 miles an hour in a race car, or 75, 80 miles an hour on skis, they all kind of have the same level of adrenaline, I think you could say.
I grew up around a lot of cars. My father was a very incredible car he was fixing the cars. Mechanic. So, and he was such a great. He was so good at it that some of the factories hired him as an expert. So, when he fixed the cars, you would not be able to tell apart that the car was actually, broken before it was crashed. So that's how intricate his work was. And my brother was also very much into cars. But me, on the other hand, I never learned how. I learned how to drive. I do have my license, and I did drive back home a little bit here, but I never stick to it. I'm not a driver in any way, and I was like, you know what, I'm not good at it. Let other people drive, and I'll just go on for the ride. So I'm not driving, and we are completely opposite in this way. But I do this well. So that's my forte. So I'll be.
I know, I've had your food, and you do it very well. So.
Thank you. So while we're talking, I just prepped a little bit of the shallots. We're gonna do the Béarnaise sauce. I'll show you how easy it actually is. It always sounds so complicated. Sauces can be a little bit confusing and challenging. So I'm gonna add some butter to this little saucepan, and we're gonna saute the shallots and then add our vinegar and let it reduce together, vinegar and white wine together. So I have both here together. And after that, we'll continue. I'll show you what's next. So what type of car was your first car that you raced? I know you were an Indy racer, but I don't know much about this stuff. It's so much, it's so complicated for us girls. Explain to us a little bit. But I also want to know about the female race car drivers, because it's like, what a badass thing to do for a girl. It's really cool.
Oh,
you probably met Danica.
Oh yeah,
Patrick.
yeah, absolutely. My teammates raced with her. So,
oh wow,
yeah.
She's probably super cool. She's so beautiful, and I always was admiring that. I'm like, wow, this is some.
Oh, she's, and she's an extremely good driver. She actually is, because there have been women drivers that got in there more because they were women breaking into the sport, and she was the real deal. She actually won a race in IndyCar, and
wow.
That's hard to do. It just is. The first time I ever raced, actually, it went back. My father loved fast cars too when I was a kid, and we would go out to it was kind of an outlaw racetrack, and he would let me drive a dragster when I was 14 years old.
14?
Yeah, and we would go out and we'd do it all the time until somebody got killed at the track and then police shut the place down.
Have you witnessed a lot of losses on the tracks with your co-workers, co-pilots? How do you call that?
Oh, racing, yeah, I think probably I know of, well, there was, I've been at 3 or 4 tracks where there was actually fatalities when we were racing, and I lost.
At the same time.
Yeah, oh yeah. There was, I had.
But that never stopped you. You never got that fear, even after you crashed yourself. You actually did go back.
Yeah, but
like, what has to, like, what is that? Is that like your fearlessness, or that's just your passion for what you do?
Probably no sense. No, I don't know what it is, because everybody, I think you justify it in your head that, okay, that's not going to happen to me. Because I've seen this every time when somebody gets killed at a racetrack, other than when Dan Weldon got killed in Las Vegas driving for Sam Schmidt. They actually red flagged the race and the drivers decided not to go on. But I've been at tracks where somebody will die and they normally won't tell everybody what's going on, and they'll finish the race. Like, that's happened too, and they'll say he died afterwards or whatever. But there was, just in Miami, a good friend of mine got killed down here in a warm-up.
In a warm-up?
Yeah, it was they do a warm-up before the race, and Paul Dana got killed down there, and it was, they had the race afterwards, but everybody knew that there'd been a fatality.
What about your family, your mom and your dad? How did they take your idea of becoming this race car driver? And I could not imagine my kids going through that and to just be always on needles.
Oh, my mother would come to some of the races. My father he only missed one in my whole life. And he loved it as much as I did.
Wow.
And like, it was really
he was
quite
into
a bonding.
Cars as well?
He loved it. Yeah, it was a really great bonding between me and him.
Yeah, especially as a father.
Oh, it was so much. Yeah, he just enjoyed it. It was his life when he was in his retirement. The only issue was when I nearly got killed, nobody knew whether I'd survived or not. And he said literally for about 15 minutes, just by the look of the nature of the crash, they figured it was a fatality. And so he had to get all the way back to the infield hospital. It was quite tough on him, to be honest. My friend said he's never seen anybody so white in their life. But that said, when I decided to go back racing, my mother said, I won't miss any more races, because she said if something happens again, I'll make sure that I'm there.
Wow, your parents are tough cookies,
Oh,
just
yeah,
as
they
you
were.
are. I'm sure there is a reason for that. You are the way you are. And what is your favorite car to drive on your daily life?
Actually, I mean, I've owned a lot of different cars like Ferrari, Lamborghini, and that. I enjoyed the McLarens. Other than they had a few problems as far as the dependability goes, but mechanically, it was one of the best cars I've ever driven. That's a street car.
You know, when someone like you is into cars and you know, likes this type of cars, it makes all the sense to me, because I'm not into, I don't really care what kind of car, as long as there are wheels, I can get to the point A to B. But when someone who is who was a professional race car driver is into cars, and you have a different perspective and explanation about it, as you are saying, mechanical part of McLaren, right? They are done very the way you like it. So
oh yeah, they were amazing. I mean, it's an insane car to drive on the street. It really is. It's just, it was so well designed. But you could take that to any track, and it's such a great car the way they built
safe?
it. Oh yeah, they're quite safe. I mean, anything that goes super fast like that, you can there's some way you can hurt yourself with it. But
Yeah,
I mean, cars that will do over 200 miles an hour.
What do you drive now?
I've got a Maserati MC20, which is more, it's their two-seater, it's more of the Ferrari style car. And then I've got an M8
I think you're
BMW.
taking me for a ride in this today.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like you could drive it.
Yeah, but we're just pretending. What is the most important lesson you've learned through your racing career and all the crazy things you've been through, you just told us, and that where you are right now?
I think the biggest thing that you can learn in life is, doesn't matter how bad things get, there's always, you have to be able to adapt to it and move forward. And I think you've been around Sam Schmidt, and he will teach you that every day in life. As bad as his injury is, it's likely, like, there aren't many people alive that have a worse injury than him. And he does more things in life than 99% of the people that I know.
And I really want to have Sam here one day. Hopefully we'll make it happen, because when I've met Sam, I was really blown away by his strengths and the willpower and his mindset, and he exactly how much stuff he does as a businessman, as everything he created in this life, most healthy people cannot do. And it's just fascinating, and it's all about that mind that you take, and you stop feeling pity for yourself and sorry and blame the rest of the world, but you actually go and get it. And that's what you've been doing and what Sam been doing, and it's for you to actually see what he's going through, definitely, I'm sure, helped you to overcome your injury.
Oh, absolutely it did. And I mean, right from the desensitization part of it, because when I first was in the hospital, I had 7 surgeries in 8 days. And next thing, Sam shows up and they've got a TV screen and a video, and it was my crash. And he said, "You want to see your crash?" And this is the last thing I wanted to see. But after I watched it a few times, like, it was very shocking first time I saw it. Then after a while, you got desensitized to it. But he literally, just everything that he does. He drives a car now. He's actually a partner with McLaren. So McLaren bought 3/4 of his IndyCar team.
That's
and
incredible.
They've built a car for him that he drives only using his head at over 215 miles per hour. So he's a very, like, even though he can't race the way he was, he still has the need for speed.
He does. You should Google Sam Schmidt and see who he is and what he does, and you will be just absolutely blown away by his capabilities and his achievements as well. I'm gonna continue here for a second, because it's always like so much going on in the kitchen. We have the steaks. I'm gonna season them with this really nice coarse seasoning with salt, pepper, garlic. So we're just gonna season it and put some avocado oil on it, because we just wanna create that little crust on it. And I'm gonna throw it on the grill. Actually, we put the cameras today on the grill as well, because I like also doing butter basting, but I didn't want to splash that oil all over Tom here.
Yeah, you don't want to
We don't
catch
want
me on fire.
No, Unless I'll put
I
that
can wear
suit
the other
on you.
suit on, yeah.
But also the suit is so special. I don't want to make any mess with it as well. So we have our Béarnaise sauce is cooking. So we have here the shallots, butter, tarragon, white wine, and vinegar. You have the recipe there, and it is, all the amounts are there for you. So this is going to have to reduce a little bit more, and then we have to blend it with the egg yolk, and then add our butter, melted butter, and then the delicious black truffle sauce. I don't have the fresh black truffles today. It's not in season really. It's summer truffle, but we always can buy the one that is in packs, and I use Urbani truffles. They're always really good. So I'm gonna just take the steaks to the grill while you're hanging out here, and maybe
Maybe I can burn something for you.
maybe you could burn something for me. Watch this little thing here going on, and tell us a little bit about that mining business. Like, you created the software part of it, correct?
We created everything.
You created everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
we engineered it. We designed it, engineered it, built it. This mining, the new generation is just being built right now. But we did one earlier, but now.
How many years ago was that?
Well, this latest generation, we're just starting the construction of it right now.
When did you start? It was after you retired, or it was in between of it as well? With your
No,
racing?
well, actually, with the mining space, we just started this like 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's fairly new. Yeah, I was involved in another business that was based in the Middle East prior to that.
Was also connected to oil.
It was all oil, yeah.
But it wasn't software.
No. This was
was
all
the real
everything
deal.
you do to get oil out of the ground or natural gas. That's what that business did.
How does that work? Can you just tell us about the process? Because it's so crazy, because people don't, I don't know anything about it. It sounds so fascinating, and how do you dig that? Like, how do you find, there was one event that I went to, and they were talking about this also software that they created. It's basically finding the mines before digging.
Yeah,
Because that
so
would
are you
make
talking about
so-
oil or are you talking about mining now? 'Cause
Mining.
Yeah, there's.
No, but it's like, same category. So that was interesting. So how do you start this? Like, how do you dig that out? What is the process in this?
Well, they end up, usually the mining company will identify where they want to explore. And then they'll get us to come in and say, we're going to be drilling all these test holes everywhere. And they'll go to various depths, depends on where it is, and they want to get through the mineralization and find out if they're looking for copper, as an example, which we're going to be doing in Arizona. They want to find out what's above it, what's below it, and at what point does do you start getting the mineralization that you want, where they're looking for the density of copper to be at a certain level so that they can physically put a mine there and extract it in commercial quantities. And the average mine,
How
in the United States, average mine from start till production 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah. So what we're trying to
Unbelievable.
do is short circuit at least maybe 4 or 5 years off of that by drilling it faster. That's the whole concept.
I'm gonna drop this, and I'll be right back, guys. Maybe there is a question for.
Well, if you ever meet him, he's such a fascinating person because I went to his house literally months after he had broken
gonna
his
just
neck
drop this,
and was
on the grill
They knew
while
that he
I'm
was
in
going
my
to be a
really hot
quadriplegic.
suit. And some rosemary on top of each of it. Close it, and it's gonna grill quickly.
So when I visited with Sam after he had broken his neck, he was really, you can imagine the mindset you would be in after just finding out that you're going to be paralyzed the rest of your life. But he he didn't take long to decide to become a race car owner rather than a driver. And we got in touch a few months later, and I ended up driving on his first team that he did. And you could see right then that Sam wasn't going to be sitting still on anything in his life. So it became, in the team that he started, which was an Indy Lights team, of course with Sam, it became the most successful Indy Lights team there ever has been. They won more championships, but he started it from scratch. And after I quit racing cars, I was a team owner, and I got to compete against him. And Sam, I swear to God, he would just spend days just figuring ways to beat you. And close as we came second to him in the championship one year, and we lost it on the last race. But that's just what he was like. He's just always just a very positive person. And one of the best stories that you'll ever hear was he made a promise to his daughter that he would walk her down the aisle when he was paralyzed. And that was just to give him the initiative or the hope to fix his spinal cord injury. Unfortunately, where Sam is, his injury is, it's in his C2, C3, which is very, like I said, this is one of the worst injuries that you can have. So his daughter got married a couple of years ago, and the people that did the automation on his race car, the car that he drives, only with his head, Sam secretly got together with them, and he had them develop a situation where he showed up at his daughter's wedding, and he was standing, and he had an exoskeleton they made, so he actually did walk her down the aisle.
Oh my
And
God.
then the best part of it is nobody knew he was doing that.
Sam, you are one absolutely fascinating human being, and you are someone to look up to, and thank you for everything you do. And this show will donate $5,000 to Conquer Paralysis now in your honor, Sam. Thank you. And I want to finish this sauce. So we have all our ingredients that I just cooked. We're going to add the egg yolks, and we're going to blend it, and we will make some noise. But everything is going to be ready like in a few minutes, okay? And finally, I can stop torturing you, and I can feed you some food, and I want to know your...
That's why I came here. I figured I was going to get a meal eventually.
Thank you for that. And some salt, and some, I love feeding people, and especially you. You're always, for me, it's always fun to cook for you, because I remember you don't like duck, so you like my duck. You don't like lamb. You liked my lamb. I didn't know that. He was too shy to say he doesn't eat those things, so I cooked for Tom, and he's like, oh, wow, now I like duck. Now I like lamb.
Absolutely. I have never liked duck in my life until I had yours.
And he is from Canada, where the best one of the best.
That's what they do, is they kill ducks all the time.
Yeah. So we're going to blend this. It's actually really easy to make the sauce. It's super, it always makes that sound. It's from the acid that the
creating a reaction.
Yeah, that the...
Oh, wow.
What's it called? The wine has. So it's so much going on in the kitchen at the same time. And then now we're going to add the butter and blend it one more time. And then we will add our black truffles. And I just love that flavor. And the rest, and fresh tarragon, a little extra fresh tarragon. All right. And I want you to tell me how you like the taste of it. So I need a little plate. Sometimes when I get ready, some things I forget. So this was the case here. So we look at this delicious, beautiful sauce. It's perfectly great texture. And now we will add this beautiful black truffles. Yeah, you don't have to worry if you don't have the fresh ones. These are just will do well, and you just add as much as you like, you know, how truffly you want it. So that's the truffles, and then the fresh tarragon. I love tarragon so much, so I was happy about this recipe because it's one of my favorite herbs. And tell me.
Oh, wow.
It's good?
So good.
Yes,
Wow,
thank you.
amazing.
Do you know that
I've never tasted Béarnaise like that.
No?
No, it's really nice. Yeah, really nice. Normally they have it's way more buttery. Like most of the places you
It's
go.
too much, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what they also do? They strain all the liquid from the shallots, but I want that. I want to leave the shallots and just blend everything together. Do not strain just the liquid because shallots give beautiful texture and the great flavor, especially after you cook it, is a little sweet. And let me get our fries, and the steak is going to be ready here in a minute too. So look at this delicious fries. We have actually, we don't have, I mean, I don't use any fried, like, you know, fried stuff, like fried. So I want you to taste this and tell me how you like this fries. So I decided to make something healthy for you. These are not potatoes, these are parsnips. So what do you think about that?
Very nice.
So this
Really
is
nice.
this is much better than any fries, and they're healthy. They
taste similar. Very similar to fries, right?
Yeah, very similar, but it has a little more sweetness to it. And the steak is ready. Let me grab the steak quickly. Look at our delicious steaks.
Oh, wow.
So let me plate it for you, and you could have the whole deal here. We have the steak, the fries. I'm going to use my hands. So pretty. And our Béarnaise sauce. I'll just put it a little bit on the steak, but then
Wow.
look at this. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Beautiful steak frites with parsnip fries and truffle tarragon sauce. All right, let me give you a little bite of the steak. And
So how do you just come up with this recipe all by yourself on the Béarnaise, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
You know how I cook? A lot of times I've never this is the first time I made it. I never made it.
Really?
Yeah, I've never made it before.
See, when I wing stuff like this, you would probably have a problem.
Well, it's the same thing, you know. You are good at your thing, what you do. I'm good at what I do. So, and it's absolutely normal. Everyone has a talent. You just have to explore it. You have to know and not to be shy to explore it. So just try it, and it's always gonna work. As long as you know that this is your calling, it's your passion, you do that, and it always works. You know, since like I have so much experience, here you go. You go for this bite, and let me know how did the steak work. It's good. By the way, I forgot to pop this bottle of champagne. You know, I'm gonna have to do a little sub rush here to end our show, and to thank you all guys for watching us. And we have to take a little sip. I'm actually really thirsty right now. It's really hot in the suit, guys. It's really hot. I have the AC on here, but still, just for oven being on and you know, all that stuff. So it's really hot. It's all right. Got something happening here.
Oh, you're gonna saber this?
I'm gonna saber it. I've never sabered for you.
No.
No, so perfect. This is you were doing race car driving as your dangerous thing, and I'm doing this as my dangerous thing. Let me get my glasses. Where did they go? Okay, I have my glasses.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Oh, I thought you meant glasses.
No. It's not gonna hurt anyone. It's all good. Yeah. Woo! My hands are greasy. My hands are greasy. I can't hold the bottle from the fries. That's what happens. Otherwise, it's
Wow.
fine. So here we go.
Other than the hole in your wall.
Yeah,
No, I'm good.
I think there are many holes in the walls there.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for the lovely meal.
And thank you
Appreciate
for being here. Thank you so much for telling us your story that is super inspirational and like any other. And I just love that we can bring to my kitchen this unique, wonderful people that have their powerful story that can inspire us all and make our lives better. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
And thanks everyone for watching. See you soon. See you next Thursday. Ooh.
Woof. That literally is the best Béarnaise I've ever had.
Yeah, this is so exciting for me
It's
because
so good. It really is. Very nice.
please, this is your steak. You should just enjoy it. Let me get you more sauce. Don't walk there. It's a little wet.
Yeah, I can see